Guys, welcome back to another episode of We Love Pets. Feel free to join the conversation on all social media platforms using at Pet World Insider. Reach out to us, or myself at Producer Derek. In studio, we've got some great guests. Greg Tilford, you guys know him. He's been on the show before. We're doing some great stuff with him again here in studio. And a great guest, I love to have you in here, Bill Bookout from the National Animal Supplement Council. You are the president of the organization, and you guys work together with a lot of stuff because you guys are natural for a lot of the things that you guys do. And that's kind of what we want to talk about today. Bill, because we've had Greg on here, I kind of know his backstory about animals, but what I'd like to know from you is, how'd you get started with the pet world and like kind of your animal history? So,
yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. You know, I was raised on a ranch in Wyoming, so I had dogs my whole life, and you know, I had Labrador retrievers. I was around animals my whole life. My goal after I graduated from college was to have a purebred Labrador retriever, and so I graduated, I bought a house, I got, you know, a yard, I could be a responsible pet owner, and I got a male Labrador retriever, purebred Lancelot. And it was such a great dog, I got another dog, Cinder, and she was a female. You know, then that's how I got into the business, and I had a couple of health issues with them. My female, I got her from a reputable breeder, you know, thought I'd done all the right things, and took him back 2 years old. My male, Lancelot, was English lab, so he was stocky, you know, short body, thick tail, you know, short legs, and I thought, you know, I knew about hip dysplasia, it could be a problem, so I took him back 2 years old, boom, his hips are perfect. I take my female in Cinder, she's severely dysplastic, and I can't believe it, you know, so I made a transition. I got into animal medicine. I made a career change from human medicine to animal medicine. I was CEO for the third largest specialty vet referral hospital for 3 years. In the country, third largest specialty vet referral hospital in the country, 3 years I did that. And then my male had cancer, and I worked with all these boarded, you know, people and, you know, surgeons, oncologists, and second time around I had trouble with my own dog, so I got into the natural product world. I was looking for help with my own dog because he was given a very poor prognosis, 3 months to live. And so I got into the natural products area just because I was a guy looking to help my dog, you know, live longer.
Yeah. We that's how a lot of us start, and it's one of those harder things that we kind of, once we lose someone like that special to us, we make those efforts. And you guys both have a very rich pet history. I know Greg has a very rich pet history, and I know you kind of come from the same background of like, you wanted to do better, and that's what you guys are kind of doing together out in the world with the natural and supplement world. So
and we still do want to do better.
Yeah,
we're doing great things, but you know what? It never ends.
For me, I tell you, you know, I do it from the heart, and I know Greg does as well. You know, we're passionate about the industry, the natural products area. We believe in it, and you know, people ask me, you know, how'd you get in the business and why do you do it? And I think if the one single thing that I think Greg and I both believe in is we make a difference. We make a difference in the lives of millions of animals throughout this country and around the world every single day by the products that our companies at NASC represent and quality products like Greg. We make a difference.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the underlying goal. You know, I've always had a saying for Animal Essentials, my company, that whatever success I find is incidental to the cause.
Yes.
It's just, it comes with doing good. You can call it karma, you can call it what you want, but the center of my attention and the center of my effort, just like Bill's, is it's for the animals, and it's to help enrich the lives and improve the quality of life for the animals and their people.
Okay guys, sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. The camera shut off on us, so back into our conversation. What I want to cover, make sure we get on recording before the camera fails us again. Tell us a little bit about the National Animal Supplement, or the NASC for short.
Yeah, so the National Animal Supplement Council is a nonprofit industry trade association. We represent about 90% of the companies that sell products that are similar to human dietary supplements for dogs, cats, and horses. So we're a nonprofit. We don't sell anything. And the reason I'm one of the founders of the organization, we have over 135 companies in NASC now, but you know, as I mentioned, my dog had cancer, and a natural product really helped extend the quality and quantity of life for my dog. He was given a 3-month prognosis, and he lived 2.5 years with supplements and diet changes. So I started a company, and after I got into the business, I, you know, people thought I was selling snake oil, right? And I didn't want to be perceived as selling snake oil. So we started NASC with an emphasis on quality products that make a difference in the lives of animals, and we would engage regulatory people at FDA and state regulatory agencies, and embrace and engage and implement a system of responsible conduct. So the NASC works with regulatory agencies, FDA Center for Veterinary Medicine, state regulatory agencies, that is a self-defined, self-implemented, total program of quality, responsible conduct, and continuous vigilance for products, and it's very rewarding.
You hit on a thing that I hear a lot, and I know Greg's probably gotten kind of pushback, but that snake oil kind of concept, and people like, no, the natural, no, all this stuff, and that's not always the best. And we are seeing a turn in the pet world and in the human world. But how do you guys combat like that? You get that feedback that, oh, it's not going to work for us that way.
I like preaching to the choir. I think, we've got such a growing court of public opinion, and so to speak, and a growing audience of people that are aware of what the possibilities and the potential of what we market and what we bring to bear through NASC and our companies, that, we enjoy the support of a lot of people. And the non-believers are just wasting their own time. They're just not informed, and I can sit here and I can transport people from one mindset to the other. I can change the skeptic, just by saying that, first of all, a lot of what I market, herbals, a lot of botanicals, it's not snake oil. In fact, it's not voodoo. It's not anything new at all. I mean, all of our modern drugs were derived from the same substances that we're marketing as supplements, but in a whole form. So, it's really nothing new. And I use that actually all the time when I speak in front of audiences of veterinarians. I've been to places like Western Vet Conference, and I remember this years ago. I walked in there and I was asked to speak 6 hours, 3 consecutive 1.5 hour sessions.
That's a lot of great
four 1.5 hour sessions back to back. I didn't even get a lunch break, right? And so I walk into the exhibit hall, and the first thing you see are the big pharma signs and, the latest euthanization machines. And you've got all these people in white coats and suits and ties, and, the sweat starts kind of rolling down the side of my head, because I know that in 45 minutes I got to walk into a lecture room down the hall and talk to all these people about the premise and the basics of using herbal medicines, right? So I'm thinking, boy. And by the time I walk into the lecture hall, there's like 15 people in an audience that should hold 200. That was a little early, I walk in and I meet my moderator, and he works for the Center of Veterinary Medicine for FDA. And so the sweat's now going down both sides of my face, and I'm wondering, I wonder how bad it's going to hurt when they tar and feather me. I wonder if that hot tar is really going to burn a lot, and are they going to tie me to a barbed wire fence, or are they going to, this is going to be awful. So lo and behold, nobody shows up at lectures on time. By the time 5 minutes had lapsed overtime, all the chairs were full of people, the same white coats and suits, and they're all sitting there like this. What does the voodoo witch doctor from the mountain ridgetop in Montana have to tell us? This is going to be entertaining. That's what I got back from my audience. So I went right to him and I said, I don't know what you're expecting, but there's nothing really new to you here, because, for instance, salicylic acid, which is a derivative of willow bark or meadowsweet herb, is the precursor to the aspirin that we use every day. And a lot of the cortisol drugs that we use are developed from wild yams and various other things in the plant world. Foxglove digitalis, a beautiful flower that grows in the front yard, or in the Pacific Northwest, the drug digoxin and all these cardiac drugs come from that class of plants. Taxol comes from the Pacific yew, et cetera. And I went down a list of all these different chemistries of plants, and what I saw is a bunch of people now that were sitting there with their arms down, listening. They weren't defensive anymore. They understood something that they could connect to.
And just to point to that, Greg, the difference is what? You can patent an extracted constituent and pay the money, the millions and millions of dollars that it takes to get a drug approved through FDA, And you can patent protect that and recoup the investment that it takes from the research and things.
Right.
So if you look at supplements, I think the important thing about supplements is to realize there's no magic bullets, right? You can't patent. The courts have held that you can't patent a natural product. So people say, well, why isn't there more research on these types of products? Or I won't use it, especially veterinarians. They want evidence-based medicine. Well, why isn't there more research? The right question is, why isn't there more research? Not I won't use it until there is more research. Why isn't there more research? And the reason is because there's no way for industry to recoup the investment that it takes, because you can't patent natural substances. That's what the courts have
Something
held.
in the public domain. You can't patent a dandelion growing out of
That's
a crack.
right. Secondly, even if you have a research study that shows that this product helps dogs with arthritis or liver or kidney disease or something, the law doesn't allow companies with natural supplements to make those types of claims. And the FDA will issue warning letters if a company makes claims that are in violation of the law because it infringes on the drug company. But the important point is, I think, with supplements, it's important to realize that what do you want to accomplish for your pets? You want them to live a long, healthy, happy life. You want to extend the quality and quantity of life to the maximum degree possible, right?
Yeah,
That's what you want to do for your dog
For
or
sure, yeah.
your cat?
I think everybody who owns a pet,
Yeah.
or at least goes through that first loss of a pet and gets that next pet, they want to make that next pet maybe a little better. Because
Yeah.
that first pet, we all have started off somewhere without the education.
Right.
We've all gone through and like, this was wrong, this was right, and learn from owning a pet. There's kind of that process.
So I look at health and wellness as for animals, just like I look at it for our family members. It's a sphere. It's a three-dimensional object. And there are many components to that sphere. There are environment, there's diet, there's exercise, there's allopathic medicine, drugs, surgery, things like that. But also supplements can play an important and valuable role in that. So if you have a dog that's 14 years old, I'm not worried about wiping out their liver if they're in pain 2 years from now. I want to give them good quality of life for whatever time they have left. But if I've got a dog that's 6 years old, or like my dog, 2 years old, that by the time she was 7, she could hardly walk, that dog should live 12, 14 years. So I want to do everything possible, and natural products or supplements can help give an option that a lot of times can be effective without side effects.
Absolutely. Well, it's all about affording the body the opportunity to heal itself. That's what the whole supplementation, in my mind, the whole idea of using herbs, homeopathy, whatever, it's giving the body an increased opportunity to take care of itself. We're not, unlike the allopathic drug approach, supplements are what they are. They supplement the diet. They supplement the overall picture. They supplement the body and what it's designed to do. And so, I've seen I've got so many success stories I've seen with supplements, and, I've seen success stories, and I like hearing the success stories come back from the audiences I just described. The end of that day, I had people standing along the edges of the wall and looking in the doors, and, 30 or 40% of all the veterinarians, not just holistic veterinarians nowadays, want to use supplements or something alternative in their practice. And you know why? Because they want to make a difference. They love animals just like we do.
Yeah.
And they're a component of a comprehensive approach to health and wellness.
Right. Absolutely.
So, I'm going to ask a question here, and it's good.
I know about your questions.
Well, I've suffered from migraines for a long, long time, and a friend of mine who suffered from cancer gave me a Jolly Rancher that was laced with a special substance that is a big topic right now, cannabis. And it actually helped with the migraine that I had. Now, the big topic going around in the pet world is cannabis for pets. And we're seeing these products. And it is an herb. That's an argument that people have. It is an herb. But is it the right herb? Is it something we should be feeding to our pets? Is there do you guys have a stance on that for pets?
Yeah, Greg, you want to?
Yeah, I just did a presentation at NASC's annual conference on hemp, on cannabis. And, I've been studying herbs for a long time, and I hadn't really studied, cannabis species, cannabis sativa, and, all the hooplas about cannabidiol, CBD, not the psychotropic THC side of it, but the CBD side of it, which has you can't get high on that substance at all, that constituent. So I didn't realize just how important, and I didn't realize what I was getting into, because back in, it wasn't long ago, back in, I think it was in the late 80s, some scientists in Israel who are really doing cutting-edge research on cannabinoids and such, which are constituents, the active components, most active components in the cannabis plant, discovered that our bodies, all animals, all life forms, mammalian, have an endocannabinoid system. And what this endocannabinoid system does means that we produce our own cannabinoids in our body and within our body. And these cannabinoids attach to receptors in various parts of the nervous system, various parts of the body that modulate different responses, ranging from anti-inflammatory to fighting cancer and all kinds of things. But they're designed to work with exogenous sources of cannabinoids that we don't get because of the stigma attached to psychotropic marijuana. The sad thing is that 70 years ago, the differentiation between what we know of as industrial hemp, meaning the stuff that there was 400,000 acres of industrial hemp grown in the United States up until the 50s, the 40s or 50s. 1937, things really started turning around, but there was never any differentiation between these strains of cannabis that cannot get you high. They don't contain THC, but were grown for textiles, to make fuel, and all kinds of different industrial applications. I mean,
rope.
Henry Ford built a car out of hemp.
That was pretty
Mercedes-Benz still uses hemp in door panels and stuff because it's so strong and resilient.
Yeah.
But what happened is that when, cannabis became demonized through the reefer madness thing, the whole species was demonized and we lost it. And as a result, not only, are farmers suffering, having to live on pennies a day on wheat, farming and such, where they could be growing something that could outpace corn, for fuel. And I mean, it's got so many advantages. It uses less water than cotton, makes better fabric than cotton. But we're depriving ourselves
grows faster.
It grows faster. It doesn't require any kind of genetic manipulation, doesn't require pesticides. It's an amazing economic crop, right? But it also contains cannabinoids that our bodies are designed to receive, all mammalians. And when I looked at the studies and the reason why people like the National Institutes of Health have actually gotten patents on CBD, cannabidiol, I understand why, because it really does amazing things as a drug. And there will be CBD drugs that will be owned by pharma, but you know what? They cannot patent the whole plant.
Right.
And that's what I came to your conference, our conference about, is
right.
to turn people on to the fact that we're not talking about, we got to differentiate and get rid of the stigma of psychotropic marijuana here, because there's a bigger picture. The whole plant is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
It's highly nutritious. It solves all kinds of economic issues, and it's an amazing, its potential as a whole plant supplement is greater than anything I've ever seen as an herbalist.
Now, that's why we were glad to have you at the conference, Greg, because you gave a great presentation and you dispelled some of the myths or misconceptions
Right.
about hemp and cannabis. And you think, we were joking before we started here that we were going to have a joint session, no pun intended.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, so you dispelled those things and gave accurate information educationally so people could be more informed. And as far as natural products, again, as I said earlier, natural substances, the courts have held, rightly or wrongly, that the natural substances could not be protected by intellectual property, patents, right? So I always say, especially to the skeptics that you talked about in your lectures or like this, at the end, I always end my sessions with this question. Good science is always open-minded. Don't you agree?
Right.
You don't think good science is open-minded? How do you answer that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, when did you stop beating your wife? Yeah. Good science is always open-minded. Don't you agree? There are things that we don't know that you shouldn't just dismiss
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
because there's not enough scientific
Right.
support or evidence.
There are powers in the universe,
That's right.
whether you believe in God or not. There are powers in the universe that exist but will never be scientifically validated yet, that can never be denied. There's a lot of them.
Yeah,
We just
a lot of things. Question everything. Is go and don't just take everything for face value. Go
And be
home question.
open-minded.
Yeah,
Right.
and be able to take.
Yeah.
I mean, both sides of an argument.
Right.
That's the beauty of
Yeah.
where we're at right now with a lot of stuff, is that we're seeing development because people are questioning the way we've raised our pets for the past couple of years, because it wasn't always like this. The pet world was not always dry kibble and non like quality stuff. It was a scraps. It was, and we were seeing dogs
what came off the table. Yeah.
And so, but then we've seen this commercial, like kind of corporate world of the pet world. And now we're seeing this change back to like, oh, you know what? We kind of made a mistake. Let's kind of make these adapt.
Well, and you see that in the evolution of products, like, you know, the premium and super premium and even raw, you know, natural diets. If you just look at, and there's stratification in the pet food market.
Department stores now, like you can get actually there's refrigerator units
That's right.
in the pet
That's
section.
Right. That's
like,
right.
What do you need refrigerated? But then you like, no, there's so many better options now that we're getting for the pet world, and seeing those higher quality ingredients and asking those questions. How do I keep that dog or cat or hamster or fish with me longer? Because it brings joy to our worlds to have them with us.
They're a family member.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. They
Well,
are a family member.
it goes beyond that. I mean, they bring values and lessons into our house, into our homes and into our lives and into our communities that humans simply aren't capable of teaching. I mean, selflessness.
Have you ever gone home and even if your dog wasn't feeling well, they're always glad to see you.
Yeah.
Even if you've had a bad day, your cat.
Absolutely.
You know,
it's every day after the studio work. It's going, and it's like I lay down with my dog for about 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's the best thing.
It's
therapy.
It's
It's
true unconditional love.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They love and trust us unconditionally. That's why it's such an important responsibility that we have in NASC, and that's why we all take it so seriously, is because they love and trust us unconditionally. And I look at it as, just like Greg does, somebody out there with their dog or cat or horse, that animal is just as much of a family member to them as my dog and my cat is to me.
Yeah. Yeah. We can't argue that that's not the case. We all have experience that way. I want to make sure we cover a little bit about the conference so people understand the conference. I'm not too familiar with it.
Yeah.
Explain to me what the conference is, what it covers, what to kind of expect out of a conference like this.
Yeah, so let me just talk about NASC for a second, because we represent companies that we're a nonprofit. We don't sell anything. But companies to join NASC, they can't just pay their money and join NASC. They have to qualify to join NASC.
And it's a very rigorous process.
It is. Yeah. They have to agree to have good manufacturing practice standards and abide by those which we've developed, enter the products and the ingredients in our adverse event reporting system, limit the claims of those that are allowed by the law. They have to attend the annual conference, which is a continuing education program, just like other professionals, because quality is a process of continuous improvement. It's always a journey and never a destination. So at the annual conference, we have a couple of three objectives, really. Number one, we want to make it educationally informative so that each one of our companies can take the information from that annual conference, and when they leave on Friday, they can implement those things on Monday, and they will be a better quality company and a better company for their employees. They will grow as a company and do a better job. That's one objective. We also like to make the conference fun and enjoyable. So we do some fun things as well at the conference. The third objective of the conference is we try to give back. So we select an organization that's a philanthropic organization, and in the past we contributed to Best Friends Animal Sanctuary in Utah. We had Jim Garant, who had written the book The Lost Dogs, about what happened to Michael Vick's dogs after they were confiscated from the dog fighting thing. We did Falcon Ridge Horse Rescue. We've done Reigns Therapeutic Horsemanship. This year we chose the Warrior Dog Foundation, which is a Texas-based organization. We try to support local organizations in the states that we go, and they're special forces dogs that are truly elite operators, canine operators that save human lives. And the Warrior Dog Foundation was our fundraising effort. So we try to accomplish those three things: information, educationally, have some fun, and give back and make a difference.
I cried through that whole presentation. I cried like a baby through that.
Believe me. I got up and introduced Sarah from the Warrior Dog Foundation, and then she gave her presentation about, what they do and a dog that she lost. And then you think you're bad. I have to get up and speak after her. I'm like you. I
You can
gotta
hide in the shadows.
I could hide in the
I gotta
shadows.
dry my eyes. My voice cracks. I gotta follow her, and I
It was amazing.
gotta speak.
Absolutely amazing.
And we gave away a great trip donated by one of our preferred suppliers, where we qualify suppliers. That was a great trip. That was a fundraising, and we raised over $7,000 for the Warrior Dog Foundation, just from our attendees. Yeah, it's great. So we try to give back.
Awesome. That's
Yeah. So I want to bring up something about NASC that, something I'm really happy about. And I know that the viewers will be happy to hear this too, because one of the greatest challenges that I think the users of supplements, and one of the biggest frustrations that they experience and we all experience, is that you buy a bottle of product and you don't know what it's good for.
Yeah.
You can read the label, but we're really limited on what kind of claims we can make on the labels. And, we can't attach enough information about the use of herbs or other supplements to the product without getting dinged for making, inappropriate drug claims, right? So recently the NASC has started a new program called Pet Health Live.
Right.
That will allow consumers and pet lovers to access the information they need to read up on specific supplements and conditions. And yeah.
And so we don't recommend products, but we can certainly talk about herbs. We can talk about other ingredients: glucosamine, chondroitin, MSM, hyaluronic acid, any of the multitude of ingredients. We can also talk about conditions, but it's diverse information. So we want to be the go-to credible source in Pet Health Live or Horse Health Live that gives the consumer or the feed and tack store or the pet store a resource. And we also have experts there, like Greg. If we have a question that we need expertise, veterinarians, PhDs, herbalists like Greg will pull in those resources. So we want to be the go-to location for accurate, credible information, rather than having somebody out there that there's so much information on the internet you don't know what to believe.
Right.
Guys, thank you so much. We're almost coming to an end. I've got 2 more things to ask of you guys.
Sure.
But the conversation has been awesome. Thanks for being on. But what we love to do on this is we like to get user-submitted questions and get the audience part of the show here. So if you guys want to join the conversation, please use the hashtag #WeLovePets on all the social media platforms, at Pet World Insider, or myself at Producer Derek. Sorry. But Bill, Greg's already done it, so I'm not going to ask Greg, but I'm going to have you pull a question from the dog bowl, and we're going to answer it and see what we say.
Uh-oh. So, Greg, what's your favorite TV pet show?
TV pet show. Boy, I would have to say, gee. What's the name of the show I've been taping for 2 days?
Yeah. Well, that's going to be
Pet World Insider. We love pets. Really. I mean, I love doing this.
Yeah.
I love watching it. It's great. I mean, I like, what you guys are doing to pull people together and pull information together. I feel like every time I step in here, I feel like I'm coming home and I'm with a family, And,
well, you know why I like being here, and I appreciate you and Robert inviting me, is because it was obvious from the time that I first met you guys. You do it from the heart. You do it from the heart.
Yeah.
You do it because you believe in it.
Right.
And you do it from the heart. And if people do the right things for the right reasons, all the other rewards will come. And so I'm so pleased to be here. Thanks so much for inviting me.
I'll be honest, I also do it because I really love working with cameras. So, I mean, I get to play with cameras and pets, so I can't really complain about
Well, if
that.
you do something you're passionate about, hey, you do it better, right?
Yeah. Well, okay, you guys both took cop-out answers on the question.
You got a good question. Last time I came here, it had to do
You don't
with
even-
the size of my foot, So
Let me pull another one. Do you groom your own pet or take it to a professional groomer?
There we go. Okay.
I groom my own pet, and I do, as I do a lot of grooming from the inside out. I believe that supplementing the body correctly with the right fish oils and supplements.
Such a cheesy answer. I said.
It really that's the way pets should be groomed.
I do.
I groom, I brush. I don't clip my dogs. I live in the middle of the desert now, and it's sad. I just saw a dog that had been walking. It walked out of a groom shop, and it had been shaved, and it was sunburned.
Yeah.
And what people don't understand is that the hair's there for 2 reasons: to insulate and to keep warm. So a lot of long-haired breeds like Aussies. I mean, they're bred for desert, and it's the same reason why You don't see people wearing tank shirts crossing the Sahara Desert, right?
Well, I got to confess, I take my dog to the groomer.
And that's okay. There's
You know,
nothing wrong with that.
At the vet hospital, but you know, I know the groomer.
I do too, once
I've
in a
gone
while.
and had annual checkups. I trust my veterinarian. I know her personally, and they have really high quality vet care, and I have annual checkups on my dog.
I do most of the grooming myself, and that's just so I can get that kind of checkup on her and get an idea and get her comfortable with those kind of like combing and brushing and fillings. Like when you go to vet, she's going to get felt up kind of the same way, so that you can she's a little bit more comfortable with that touch. So I do it, and then to do that, but there's no right or wrong answer to this. Last thing, you got 2 questions, so you kind of got a little bonus there, but that's okay. Last thing, if you guys wanted to share one topic or one tip for the pet world out there, what would that be for pet owners out there?
I think the importance of everybody asks the question, what's the best product, right?
Yeah.
And there's no really good, solid, this one's the best, right? I think the most important thing I would share is you want to select a quality product. But how do you do that? We would hope that people would look for the NASC quality seal on a supplement, because that company has been through an independent quality audit, met all of our requirements, and continues to do that. So select a quality product. Not to say that only NASC members are capable of making a quality product, but I think you can have a higher degree of faith, trust, and confidence if you look for that NASC seal.
I'd also add to do your research and kind of go through that and make sure like what you're doing is really that quality product, and that's the best thing. Greg, I know you've given a tip before, but you got another one out there, because I mean you're full of wisdom.
I think the most important thing in all of this is learn everything you possibly can about the animals in your life. Learn about the species, learn about the breed, learn about the sex, learn about the individual animal. Keep a diary, understand that animal from the inside out, so you can understand the natural needs of your pet and the nuances, the tolerances, and you can serve the needs so much better. Open your heart, open your mind, realize that they're not human, they're different than us, and that's the beauty of having them.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I want to make sure people get more information. What's a website that they can find you, social media, any of that stuff you want to throw out there so people can find more information on?
Yeah, so National Animal Supplement Council, we have a Facebook page, animalsupplements.org, or our supplement company site, the B2B site is nasc.cc. You can certainly call us, send us an email. You can send me an email personally, and I will respond, or I'll call you back. So
awesome.
That's how I can
thank you so much for all that. And Greg, I know we've given you that out, but come on, give more information.
You can always reach me
great.
through my company at animalessentials.com, or my blog site at theanimalherbalist.com, or on social media under Greg Tilford or Animal Essentials. I'm there. Just punch my name in, you'll find me, good or bad.
So thank you guys so much for joining us and sharing all that knowledge. The real treat is you guys get all this extra footage and bonus stuff that just enlightens your pet world. So guys, if you guys want to join the conversation, please be part of it with us and share your information, share your stories with us down in the comments below. Leave questions that you want our guests to answer for the dog bowl questions, or reach us out on social media at producer Derek, myself, or at Pet World Insider. And you can always follow us on petworldinsider.com. Thank you guys, and join us for another episode.
Thank you, Derek.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
You bet.